change, and sometimes we're in the woods longer than anticipated. It happens to the best of us. That is what led us here to this very point in time, to this exact location that I'm in. Continue. Here are a few outdoor essentials to throw in your emergency survival kit to be prepared for an unexpected day or overnight adventure in the wilderness. An overnight adventure in the wilderness. That is coming from the Leatherman website, and this is their recommended outdoor gear. Survival blanket, aka space blanket, thermal blanket, heat sheet, check. Multi-tool, of course, check. Extra bottle of water, check. Energy bar, check, check. Flashlight, check, check. Rain jacket, check. Bandana, ding. Leatherman go on to say that naturally this list isn't exhaustive and you can add and subtract gear. This is just the basics. So I've added 2 additional items. We've got a few pieces of paracord, and seeing as there's no coffee on that list, I've allowed myself the luxury item of a flask of coffee. I'll get 2 cups of coffee out of this thermos right here, and that's it. That's us. That's all we have to see us through the night. Don't know what the weather's going to be doing today. If it is going to rain, I don't want to be out in it. So first things first, shelter. So we have this tree here and this log down here. I'm thinking we can use those as a windbreak. Emergency blanket above us, emergency blanket below us, fire out in front. Should be cozy. It won't be, but it will be cozier than not having anything at all. So we just got a little bit of rain, just taking cover for a moment. No point in getting wet if we don't have to. So that's our shelter complete. I've placed a branch at the back of it to weigh it down, stop any flapping. Now I'm going to collect a whole bunch of leaves to place on the floor down here to give us a bit of cushioning. Cozy. And here's the thing, this blanket is long enough and wide enough that I can always be off the floor but still drape it over me if I need to. So now our shelter setup is complete. I want to collect as much firewood as possible because that fire will be the difference in a bearable night and an unbearable night. So I want to split these larger pieces of wood. Take our saw, cut halfway. Now we've got our cut halfway through this piece of wood. We want to give it a whack. So it didn't work the way I wanted to, but now I know why. It's just coated in resin. So we've got a good bit of fat wood here. What was supposed to happen is this. So we collected a fair bit of firewood, not nearly enough to see us through the whole night, but before we run out of too much light, what I want to do now is focus on how we're going to ignite our fire. Obviously we have the fire still on a signal here, but it's not easy to light a fire with this tiny fire still. I mean it works, but it's small and it takes a bit of getting used to. But as with everything, preparation is key, so I want to gather ample sources of material. I'm going to get a little excessive, go big or go home, because if I don't go big and I don't gather enough material, then I might as well go home because we just don't get that fire. we take all of this fibrous material, anything dry, that's going to help, and even take some bigger shards of this wood, and with this we'll just create some feathers, anything that's going to give us an advantage when it comes to this fire, anything that can hold a flame, we're going to get. Got a bit of drizzle going on now, makes things a little more interesting, makes things a little more wet. Looks like someone's been poaching. Pretty old though. As long as I don't come back tonight. It's a quick little improvement on the shelter. As you can see, it's just draping down. And I don't want that. I want it to be pushed out. So, just got ourselves a little stick. Just going to take off any sharp edge on it. Just round off the edge a little bit. Just so it's not going to be puncturing our space blanket. And now I'm just going to lodge this between the log and a blanket. And it just lifts it off of us. We've really had 4 seasons in one day today. First it's sunny, blue skies, then it got a little overcast, now it's raining. Not always easy to prepare for 4 seasons in one day. Sun has gone down. I'm going to treat myself to a cup of coffee, a granola bar, and then I think we'll get to work getting this fire lit, because I don't particularly want to be doing that when it's pitch black. And it's still raining. So when attempting to light these super fine shavings, there's always a risk of nudging them, and that would be that'd be pretty disastrous if we did that right now. Fuck. Like that, but then lock the saw. Oh man, so I'm doing it and I'm pressing the liner lock. Fuck, because it just takes a little nudge and you've lost some good material there. Now it's getting dripped on too, so I'm going to try it with the awl. Got a flame. No. Okay. Just not holding. So the shavings just aren't working. So I'm gonna have to go to plan B, which there never really was a plan B. I just thought the shavings would work. So there you go. Gonna get some birch bark, scrape off some good old fine powder from that, and that should work. Oh, we'll get there eventually. Just gonna make ourselves a little birch bark bird's nest. Pretty thin strips. Ah, fuck.
It was at this moment that he knew.
So miraculously, as soon as I started getting that fire going, I ran out of storage. But I do believe just before it cut off, you saw the flame. That was the beginning of this fire. I hope you did anyway. Jesus. That was hard work. That was hard work. I thought we weren't going to be able to make that one. As you see right here, it took a lot of ferrocerium to get this fire going. Almost to the point that I was striking the plastic housing as I'm trying to get the sparks. The trouble is, it's such a small ferrocerium rod that it's not going to last too long. And it's difficult to hold, and it doesn't throw super hot sparks. So that's where the difficulty lied in getting this fire going. But we did get it going in the end, and right now we're reaping the rewards. It's warm. It's warm. That heat is coming in, reflecting off of our space blanket right here, coming straight back onto us. I don't think it's going to get that cold tonight. I think it's only going to get down to about 8 degrees Celsius. So it's no major freeze. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to reap the rewards of this fire. And that will be us. That will be us for the night. There's not much more to do. Gather more firewood. But apart from that, yeah, it's going to be a long night. around 8 o'clock in the morning. Didn't sleep well. Didn't sleep well at all. Not just for the fact that I was laying on the ground. So obviously not the most comfortable, but it's mating season for the foxes. And so they've just been loud, pretty inconsiderate. And it's been raining for the past couple of hours. But we're dry. I didn't really get cold until the wind picked up. And that's something I can't stand, is when that wind picks up. I can take rain, I can take sleet, snow, but the wind is just horrible. I can't stand being out in the wind. So yeah, sleep-wise, it was on and off, in and out. All my coffee's gone. I'm gonna take a walk around and see if there's anything we can turn into a tea. Trouble is, as the old expression goes, I haven't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So I'm gonna get a little creative with that. So I'm just strolling around, haven't yet identified any plants that we can turn into a tea. Came across this, and you might think, to the untrained eye, it's pine needles, right? So make us some nice pine needle tea, but we can't, because it's not that. This is a specific yew, and everything about this tree is toxic. It even has the symbol of sorrow. We've got some honeysuckle down here, but of course it's the wrong time of the year, not in bloom. We use the flowers to make tea. That's no bueno. So we done collected a handful of birch bark. What I'm going to do is use this this paper that came with the emergency blanket and just intertwine it into our birch bark. Probably should have thought of this last night. Shove it inside the birch bark. Still got a bit of water left. Hot water. I'm not entirely sure it's BPA free, but as you can see, the bottle is discoloured, it's contorted, but the water is still clear. Now of course, if I needed to collect water, filter it and then purify it, I would have taken a bandana, folded it over a few times, stuck it on top of the bottle, collected the water from the stream or whatever water source, and then repeated the process with the fire until we reached a boil, and let it boil for a good few minutes. Tastes like hot water. So after spending 24 hours in the woods with Leatherman's survival kit essentials, what would you guys bring on a trip with you like this, lost in a wood scenario, what would you do differently? I'm now going to eat a big breakfast, so I will see you guys on the next one.